She looked me dead in the eyes at Thanksgiving dinner, a wine glass in hand, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You were nothing before my son, and you'll be nothing after him." That was the moment I stopped trying to be accepted and started planning my revenge. Before I tell you how it all unfolded, let me just say, this story isn't just about revenge. It's about finding your worth when someone tries to tear you down. So stay with me, and if this story hits home, show your support with a like, a share, or a kind word. You never know who might need to hear it. My name is Claire Jensen. I'm a 28-year-old nurse from Michigan, and for a while, I thought I had found something real with Liam Carter. He was charming, handsome, and seemed to care about me in a way no one else had. When he asked me to move in with him, I said yes, full of hope. I didn't know I was also moving in with a storm. Liam's mother, Donna Carter, was a different story. From the moment we met, she looked at me like I was some stain on her perfect world. She's one of those women who hides poison behind a polite smile. A widow who used her pain as an excuse to control everyone around her, especially Liam. I tried to win her over. I brought flowers when I visited, helped her with errands, smiled through her backhanded compliment. I thought if I just showed her kindness, she'd soften. But Donna wasn't interested in peace. She was interested in power. She'd compare me to Liam's ex, Vanessa, every chance she got. "Vanessa used to make the best roast," she'd say, looking at my burnt chicken. Or, "Vanessa dressed like a woman, not like a nurse on her lunch break." She laughed when she said it, but her eyes never did. Liam brushed it off. "That's just how she is," he'd say, chuckling. But it wasn't funny to me. The worst part was being excluded. Family brunches without an invite. Group photos where I was asked to take the picture, not be in it. And once, I walked into the living room to hear her tell Liam, "She's not one of us. You'll see that soon enough." Still, I stayed. I told myself love was worth the fight. But I was wrong. Because on Thanksgiving night, while everyone was laughing and drinking, Donna raised her glass and said what she'd probably been dying to say all along. "You were nothing before my son, and you'll be nothing after him." Everyone went silent. And Liam? He didn't defend me. He didn't say a word. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I smiled politely, excused myself, and walked out. I didn't leave for good. I left to plan. Thanksgiving at the Carters' house was supposed to be a warm, family gathering. I wore my nicest dress, helped Donna set the table, and even brought her favorite wine. I tried. I really did. But nothing I did would ever be enough for that woman. Dinner started out quiet. Tense but quiet. Then the jabs began. Donna smiled across the table, sipping her wine, and said, "So Claire, remind me, what did your mom do again?" "Oh, that's right. She worked at that gas station for years, didn't she?" She laughed softly, like she had just shared an inside joke. I forced a smile. Liam said nothing. A few minutes later, she brought up my father. "It's a shame your dad passed away when you were young. Though I suppose prison isn't the best place to raise a daughter." The table went silent. I froze. My heart pounded in my chest. Liam didn't stop her. He didn't defend me. He didn't even look uncomfortable. In fact, I caught a little smirk tug at the corner of his mouth. I tried to eat. I tried to breathe. But every bite tasted like shame. The rest of the evening blurred into fake laughs and empty stares. I helped clean up, said goodbye, and thanked them for having me like I hadn't just been torn apart in front of everyone. Later that night, I sat on the edge of Liam's bed while he took a shower. His phone lit up with messages from Donna. I wasn't snooping. I just glanced. "She's still here?" Thought this little phase would be over by now. "Be patient. She'll get the hint eventually." Then Liam replied, "She's easy to manage. Give it time." I felt sick. I stared at those messages until his voice called out from the bathroom asking if I was okay. I said yes. I wasn't. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't throw his phone across the room. I put it back where I found it, laid down beside him, and waited for him to fall asleep. Once I heard his soft breathing, I got up, packed a small bag, and left. No note. No goodbye. The night air outside felt colder than I expected, but at least it was honest. I wasn't leaving forever. I just needed space to think, to breathe, to remember who I was before all this. Because if they thought I was a phase, they were about to see what it looks like when a phase comes back with a plan. I drove through the quiet streets of my hometown with the heater on full blast, but nothing could warm the ache inside me. I hadn't been back in almost a year. Not since I moved in with Liam and thought I was stepping into my real life. But real life had just spit me out like I didn't matter. And now I was crawling home. When I pulled into the gravel driveway of my childhood home, the porch light flicked on. My mom, Margot Jensen, stepped out like she'd been waiting all along. Arms crossed, hoodie zipped, expression unreadable. The kind of look that used to scare teenage me half to death. I got out of the car, and before I could even say a word, she said, "You hungry or just sad?" That was her version of hello. I smiled for the first time in days. Inside, nothing had changed. Same old mismatched furniture, same cracked photo frame on the hallway table, same kitchen smell of old coffee and stubborn hope. We didn't talk much at first. I sat at the counter while she reheated soup and poured us both some tea. Then she finally asked, "What did he do?" I couldn't answer. Not right away. I just looked at her, hoping she'd read it in my face. And she did. Moms like mine always do. "He didn't deserve you," she said simply. "None of them did. And that mother of his? She's lucky I wasn't at that dinner." That made me laugh, and that laugh turned into tears. I didn't even try to stop them. She handed me a paper towel, not a tissue, because we'd never been the soft kind of family. "You're not the girl they think you are," she said, gripping my hand. "You're mine. And in this house? We don't fold, we flip the whole damn table." That line hit me like a switch being flipped inside my chest. I remembered who I was. I remembered being the kid who took secondhand textbooks and still graduated top of her class. The girl who worked 2 part-time jobs while getting her nursing degree. The teen who learned how to fix the washing machine when we couldn't afford a new one. The young woman who never let anyone tell her what she could or couldn't become. I'd survived way worse than snide comments and fake love. That night, I laid in my childhood bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling my pain slowly harden into something else. Not hate, not bitterness. Purpose. They thought I was done, that they'd broken me, but they didn't know where I came from. They didn't know I was raised by a fighter, and I wasn't about to stay broken. They wanted me out of their world? Fine. Now I'd come back smiling, and I'd be the storm they never saw coming. I returned to town 3 days later with my hair curled, my favorite dress on, and a soft smile that didn't match what I was really feeling. I parked outside Liam's condo like I hadn't cried all the way out of town, like I hadn't read texts that shattered whatever love I thought we had, like I wasn't burning inside. When he opened the door, his face lit up. Not with guilt, not with apology, with victory. "There she is," he said, leaning in for a hug. "You okay now?" I nodded, hugging him back lightly. "Yeah, I just needed space. I got overwhelmed, that's all." And just like that, I was forgiven. No questions. No hard talks. Liam didn't want a conversation. He wanted to believe I had come crawling back. And I let him believe it. Donna came over the next morning with her usual fake smile and a tray of blueberry muffin. "Claire, sweetheart, I hope you had a restful little break. Sometimes emotions just get the best of us, don't they?" I smiled sweetly, taking a muffin like it wasn't poison in a paper liner. "Thank you, Donna. I've just been a little sensitive lately. I shouldn't have left the way I did." "Oh, darling," she said, touching my shoulder with perfectly manicured fingers. "You're learning. Relationships take patience." I almost laughed. She thought I was learning? I was about to give her a masterclass. From that moment on, I played the part. I was the doting girlfriend again. I made Liam dinner, gave Donna compliments, and laughed at jokes that made my skin crawl. I even brought wine to Sunday dinner and asked Donna for her roast recipe. They ate it up. But behind the scenes, I was collecting pieces. Notes, documents, habits, schedules. I started watching more than speaking, listening instead of defending. I made sure to handle little things for Liam, help with his resume, proofread his emails, casually mention job opportunity. I was becoming indispensable, but not in a desperate way, in a calculated one. I took quiet walks alone, thinking through my next moves. I wasn't just going to leave them behind. I was going to make them feel what I felt. The doubt, the dismissal, the humiliation, but most of all, the loss. By the end of that week, I had already started whispering little seeds into Liam's ear. "Your mom seemed upset today. Did I say something wrong?" Or, "She told me you hated your last job. I hope I didn't make that worse by bringing it up." His face would twist in confusion, sometimes defensiveness. That was the beginning. They thought I came back because I couldn't live without them. But the truth was, I came back to make sure they'd never forget me. Not because I wanted to be remembered, because I wanted to be the reason everything fell apart. It started with small things. A little mix-up here, a tiny misunderstanding there. Nothing loud, nothing obvious. Just enough to make the cracks between Liam and Donna grow a little wider. One morning, I said to Liam while we were getting ready, "Your mom told me she thinks you're too dependent on me." He looked up sharply, offended. "She said that?" I shrugged. Maybe I misheard. She might have meant it as a joke. Later that week, I told Donna, "Liam said he wishes you wouldn't stop by unannounced so much. He feels a little smothered, I think." Her lips tightened. "Did he now?" I quickly added, "Maybe I misunderstood. He was tired when he said it." She didn't reply, but her eyes narrowed. I started leaving little notes around the house, fake to-do lists or reminders that made it seem like Donna had asked for favors she never actually did. Like one that read, "Remember to call Donna's insurance guy. She said you've been slacking." Liam found that one and muttered, "She never tells me anything straight." When Donna visited, I'd pretend to mishear her. "Oh, I thought you said my cooking was barely edible." She'd laugh, annoyed. No, I said incredible. Sorry. Must have been the way you said it. Liam would glance between us, unsure of what to believe. But my favorite piece of bait came one night after a fight between Liam and Donna over money. Liam had snapped, saying she was manipulative and always trying to control him. He didn't know I had my phone recording on the side table. The next afternoon, while I was supposedly cleaning, I accidentally played the recording out loud as Donna walked in. I'm not a child, Mom. You're always in my business, trying to control everything. It's exhausting. Donna froze. Her face paled. What was that? I acted flustered. Oh no, I didn't mean to play that. It was from the other night. I'm so sorry. She left in a hurry that day. I watched her from the window, gripping her purse tightly, walking faster than usual. The seed was planted deep. Then came the emotional plays. Every time Donna made one of her classic snide comments, I acted wounded, but never confronted her. Just quiet, withdrawn. Liam noticed. She didn't mean it, he'd say, pulling me into his arms. I know, I whispered, letting a tear fall. It just hurts sometimes. That was the trick. I didn't fight back. I let him do that for me. I became the fragile, mistreated girlfriend, the innocent soul he had to protect. Donna began to sense the shift. Liam answered her calls less. He cut visits short. He started questioning her stories and defending me unprompted. She was losing him, and she knew it. But the harder she tried to hold on, the more desperate she looked. And me? I just smiled sweetly from the sidelines, watching it all unfold exactly how I planned. It didn't take much to make Liam believe I was doing him a favor. He hated details, hated emails, and definitely hated paperwork. So when I offered to help out with his resume and clean up his budget, he handed it all over without a second thought. I'm just so bad at this stuff, he said, laughing as he passed me his login information. You're the organized one. I smiled and said, happy to help, like I wasn't already 5 steps ahead. Within a week, I had his job applications polished and sent out. I set reminders on his calendar, scheduled follow-ups, and even did mock interviews with him. He started landing interviews left and right. Every win, he gave credit to me. You're amazing, he said one night, wrapping his arms around me. I don't know what I'd do without you. Exactly what I wanted him to say. Donna, of course, noticed the shift. Liam was busy. He forgot to call her. He skipped lunch visits. When she did drop by, she found me sitting at his desk reviewing his offer letters or helping him write a thank you note. One afternoon, while Liam was out, she cornered me in the kitchen. You're playing a game, she said, voice low and sharp. I see it. And I promise you, I'm not going to lose. I blinked at her, confused. Donna, I'm just trying to help Liam get his life together. Isn't that what we both want? She looked like she wanted to scream. But what could she say? That I was being too helpful? Liam came home minutes later, kissed me on the cheek, and said, Did you tell Mom about the second interview? I hadn't, so I smiled sweetly and said, Not yet. Donna was losing ground, and she knew it. But every time she tried to warn Liam, she came off bitter, controlling, even jealous. He started to say things like, She's just stuck in the past, and you helped me more than she ever did. I didn't encourage it. I didn't have to. He was doing it all on his own. But the biggest move was still quiet, still in the dark. A friend of mine from nursing school had a cousin who worked in estate law. I met with him for coffee, casually mentioning the Carter family and how Donna had handled everything after her husband died. I already suspected something was off. Liam once mentioned a trust fund from his dad that never really amounted to anything. Turned out that wasn't true. With a few small nudges and the right questions, I learned that Donna had been quietly holding back a 6-figure inheritance that legally belonged to Liam. I didn't tell him, not yet. Timing mattered. For now, I kept it tucked away like a loaded secret, ready for the perfect moment. Because by the time I was done, Liam wouldn't just trust me. He'd need me. And Donna, she'd regret ever thinking I was just some girl her son would grow out of. It was a Thursday afternoon when it happened. Donna showed up unannounced, as usual, but this time there was no fake smile, no tray of muffins, no passive-aggressive comments wrapped in politeness. She walked into the living room like she owned it, eyes sharp, mouth tight. I was on the couch, quietly organizing Liam's job offers into folders, just like I'd done all week. She didn't waste time. You've changed him, she snapped, arms crossed, standing between me and the light from the window. He used to call me every day. Now I hear from him once a week, if I'm lucky. He barely visits. He doesn't tell me anything anymore. I looked up slowly, giving her the softest, most confused expression I could manage. I'm sorry, Donna. I didn't know you felt that way. Don't play dumb with me, she hissed. I know exactly what you're doing. You're turning him against me, poisoning him with your sweet little nurse act. I'm not trying to turn him against anyone, I said gently, standing now, hands slightly shaking for effect. I've only ever wanted peace. But this tension, it's hurting me, Donna. I can't keep living like this. Just then, Liam walked through the front door, whistling with a coffee in hand. The tension hit him instantly. "What's going on?" he asked, looking between us. Donna turned to him, eyes wild. "She's changing you, Liam. You're not the same. You've shut me out." Liam looked confused at first, but then he sighed, clearly exhausted. "Mom, I'm just trying to grow up. Claire's been helping me get my life together. Why is that a bad thing?" I stepped closer, voice soft and trembling. "I'm not asking you to pick sides, but I can't live like this, Liam. I really can't." That was it. He turned to his mother. "You need to go." Her face dropped. "Excuse me? You came into our house yelling at Claire? You slapped her last month at Thanksgiving with your words. I didn't stop you then, but I'm stopping you now. You're choosing her?" Donna asked, voice cracking. "No," he said firmly. "I'm choosing peace." And that's when it happened. With a trembling hand and a look of desperation I'd never seen in her before, Donna raised her palm and slapped me hard across the cheek. The room went silent. Liam stepped between us immediately. "Get out," he growled. "Now." Donna's lip quivered. She looked between us like she didn't even recognize her son anymore. Then, without another word, she turned and walked out the door. I stood there, holding my cheek, eyes wet but not broken. Liam wrapped his arms around me, whispering, "I'm so sorry, she's never coming back in here again." I leaned into him, nodding. But over his shoulder, I looked toward the door and whispered to myself, "One piece down." It happened on a quiet Sunday morning, when Liam was sipping coffee at the kitchen table and flipping through job listings. I had been up early, pretending to tidy the office. In truth, I had carefully arranged a small stack of documents and emails, highlighted, printed, and neatly left where they'd be just noticeable enough for him to discover. He walked in and spotted the folder on the desk. "What's this?" he asked, picking it up. I glanced over from the kitchen. "Oh, I meant to move that. I was sorting through some of your dad's old paperwork. I didn't realize I left it there." He raised an eyebrow. "This is bank info and emails?" I walked over slowly, playing concerned. I didn't want to make assumptions, but something seemed off. "I found those statements in the back of the filing cabinet with your dad's name on them. And the emails, they were in Donna's old backup drive you asked me to organize last month." Liam sat down, flipping through the documents. Silence stretched across the room. Hidden accounts. Transfers labeled estate consolidation. Email threads between Donna and a financial advisor, discussing how best to hold funds temporarily. Dated just weeks after Liam's father had passed. "This can't be real," he said, voice hollow. "She told me there wasn't anything left, that the trust went to medical bills and taxes." I sat beside him, gently placing a hand on him. I thought maybe there was an explanation. But the dates, the totals. Liam's hands shook as he kept reading. His face turned pale, his mouth slightly open in disbelief. "She lied to me for years. She kept all this from me, money my dad wanted me to have." I stayed quiet, just letting him process it. After a few moments, I spoke carefully. "You don't have to decide anything right now, but you do have the right to protect yourself. This isn't just about money, Liam. It's about trust." He didn't say much for a while after that, just stared out the window with that empty, wounded look, the kind people wear when their whole reality has been shaken. That afternoon, he made some calls. First to the bank, then to the lawyer who had handled his father's estate. By evening, he had started the process to have Donna legally removed from any remaining control over the Carter family finance. His tone was calm, almost too calm, the kind that comes when anger burns cold. I cooked dinner while he worked on it. Nothing fancy, just something warm. When he sat down to eat, he said quietly, "I don't think I ever really knew her. Not the way I thought I did." I reached across the table, touched his hand, and said, "I know that hurts. But maybe now you can finally be free." And deep down, I smiled, because the last piece had just clicked into place. The call came on a Thursday evening. Liam had just gotten off the phone with his lawyer and sat quietly on the couch, staring at nothing. I sat across from him, reading a book, pretending not to watch him crumble a little more each day. Finally, he said, "I'm cutting her off completely. No more calls, no more visits, no more chances." I looked up slowly. "Are you sure?" "She stole from me, lied to me, used me. I was blind, but not anymore," he said, voice calm but final. "I don't want her in my life ever again." I nodded slowly, like the decision was painful for me too. "I'm here for whatever you need, Liam. I know this isn't easy." And just like that, he made the call. He told Donna he wanted nothing to do with her, that he was done being manipulated, that the lawyer would be in touch. She tried to fight back, begged him to listen, blamed me, but he didn't budge. I could hear her shouting through the phone from across the room, but this time Liam didn't waver. When he hung up, he exhaled deeply and pulled me into his arms. "Thank you for helping me see the truth," he whispered. I hugged him back, nodding softly. "You got there on your own." And that was the most beautiful lie I ever told him. Over the next few days, word spread. Donna's closest friends, wealthy women from her charity circles and old neighborhood, started pulling away. Nobody wanted to be associated with someone who stole from her own son. The invitations stopped. Her phone stopped ringing. Within a week, she quietly packed up and left town. No dramatic goodbye, no redemption arc, just silence and the sound of her empire collapsing around her. Liam never asked me to celebrate it, and I never did. I kept being the calm, loving girlfriend, the nurse, the helper, the loyal partner who just wanted peace. So when he took me to the lake a few days later and dropped down to one knee with a ring in his hand, it wasn't a surprise. "I don't know who I'd be without you," he said. "You saved me, Claire. You made me better." I gasped, played the stunned fiancé, said yes through fake tears, and let him slide the diamond onto my finger. It sparkled under the sun, heavy and cold. Not because it meant love, but because it meant I had done it. I had taken everything that tried to break me and turned it into power. Donna said I was nothing without her son. Now he was mine. She was gone. And I was exactly where I planned to be. The wedding was small, just like Liam wanted. Something simple and meaningful, he'd said. I smiled and agreed, pretending it mattered to me. It didn't. Not the flowers, not the cake, not even the dress. The only thing that mattered was the finish line. I walked down the aisle with soft music playing, a delicate smile on my lips. Guests looked on with warm eyes and quiet joy. Liam beamed at me like he'd won the lottery. He hadn't. He was the prize I'd already claimed and was about to walk away from. I said the vows, kissed him on cue, wore the ring proudly for pictures. But inside, I felt nothing. No butterflies, no nerves. Just steady, calm control. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, I'd already made sure my name was on everything. Joint bank accounts, the new investment account he opened, the startup business we'd discussed. I helped him set it up, filing the paperwork in both our names. He called it building our future. I called it checkmate. During the reception, he held my hand and thanked me in his speech. "Claire believed in me when no one else did," he said, tears in his eyes. "She helped me become the man I am today." The crowd clapped. I smiled and kissed his cheek. But behind the smile, I was already packed for the next chapter. We left for the honeymoon 2 days later. A quiet cabin by the lake. Peaceful. Private. Just enough time for him to believe this was forever, and enough time for me to set the final piece in motion. While he fished and napped, I finalized legal paperwork. Power of attorney over the business, access to accounts, and the quiet withdrawal of certain funds into a personal trust under my name. When we returned home, I waited 1 week. Then I left. No drama. No yelling. Just a note on the counter. "This was never about you, but thank you for everything." He called, begged, cried. But I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. Because this wasn't a love story. It was a reckoning. Donna once looked me in the eye and said I was nothing without her son. So I made her son say I was everything. And now, without either of them, I'm still everything. What about you? Do you believe Claire was justified in walking away, or do you think she went too far? Share your thoughts down in the comments. I'm really curious to hear your take. And if you love stories filled with twists, betrayal, and revenge, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next.